Liam?
Hey, Nagy.
What the fuck is this?
What?
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 What? Oh yeah, we suck anyway. Good evening and welcome to the Joust. My name is Nagy. I'm here as always with my co-host Liam McNeil. We're here again at the Commonwealth Hotel. Liam, how about that game on the weekend?
How bloody about it? It was good of the boys to turn up for Old Boys Day, even though not many other people did. It was pretty much just the 17 Knights players there and the coach.
Yes, that's all. There was about 16 people in the crowd. Well, 34 on the field and maybe 18.
Yeah,
it was the lowest crowd that we've had since '97. Mm-hmm. Not a year remembered for its low crowds.
No, which struck me as very odd. I seem to recall '97 as having a good ending,
yes,
if anything.
Because there was lots of hills in '97 as well.
Yeah.
So people just packed onto there. There wasn't any health and safety in '97.
And that was around the time that I've heard the story that the Knights were running 2 sets of books on their attendance, where they capped the attendance at 25,000, and everyone over the 25,000th person that went in, they were just not counted as part of the total, so the Knights could just take all the money instead of having to give the money away.
Oh, sorry, I've never heard this.
Never heard that?
The tale of the two books.
Yeah, the tale of the two books.
So this wasn't from a health and safety perspective. This was so they could not be paying tax on
it was purely a money-making venture.
Yeah.
I believe, as far as I know, that could be way off. I could be making this all up myself, but I'm fairly certain I heard someone tell me that story.
I also used to work for a business that didn't use the turnstiles that they had there. I'll just say it was Tomaree Aquatic Centre, and then they never used them, and they always had the gate open, and I would be like, but you've got them there, why? Because the turnstiles count people.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for.
Yes.
And they didn't want to count people. Shoddy businesses all around here at the Hunter.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. Speaking of shoddy businesses.
Yeah, the Titans.
The Titans, aren't they? Just a rabble. Getting beaten, what was the final score? 38-4 by our Knights, our Newcastle Knights.
Now, a lot of people said this game. After the game, we flogged them and we said, gee, wasn't that a great win? A lot of people said, but it was the lowest team. They're the worst team in the comp. They're the Wooden Spooners. That's what makes it all the more important to win in my eyes.
That's it. If you lose that game against the Wooden Spooners, what the hell are you doing here? What are you here for? What's the point of any of it?
You barely win the game against the Wooden Spooners. Suddenly it's like we may as well be the Wooden Spooners. But you flogged the Wooden Spoon team. Surely that puts you well above the Wooden Spoon.
Exactly. Right where we should be.
Say about 5 places above. Probably where we're at. It was a game that we had to win, and we did comfortably. But what I also really didn't like about the comments made after the game, which was said a lot of, now I don't care how we play as long as we're competitive. Have you heard this?
Yes, I have. The old doesn't matter, the result doesn't matter the result.
Yeah.
Just as long as we're trying, which everyone knows is a lie.
That's a lie.
It's a massive lie.
It's 100% lie because Liam, if I asked you how the Dragons season went this year,
I would say it's been woeful.
Yes.
And you know what? Certain players in that team have been trying really hard. You know what? Doesn't help.
Our after Origin period has been pretty shit.
Yeah, terrible.
But if you look at a lot of those games, game against the Eels, our first game against the Tigers, we're in those games. But when you reflect on that, it was all the same shit.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That Parramatta game, we had a very good effort in that game. Yeah. We still lost.
Yeah.
And you know what? A couple of weeks down the track, I don't care that we tried. We lost.
Not winning.
That's all that matters.
Not winning is not good enough.
No, absolutely not. And I think that's been the trap of Knights fans for too long. We've accepted not winning because we just think it's our weight to bear. It's our burden.
Now, I'll circle back to this. But hats off for this week.
Hats off for this week. Now, this was probably the closest run hats off we've had since we started the show. But the hats off, ladies and gentlemen, went to Mitchell Barnett with 52% of the vote. It was close this week.
It's the people's vote.
It's the people's vote. The people have spoken. Now, Mitch Barnett had some impressive statistics, Nagy. 1 try, 2 try assists, 105 running metres, 3 tackle busts, a line break, and a line break assist. He was just everywhere. He was all over the field and just running rampant down that right edge.
First half, he was best on field. Mason Lino had an incredible game, though.
And also took out 48% of the vote, 2 tackle breaks, a line break assist, 249 kick metres, and 5 out of 7 conversions.
That intercept was incredible. And he's only got these tiny little legs. And he just can't run as fast as larger people. But but he runs away from people as well. So he manages to... He did such a good job with that intercept because that would have been the Titans' try. And then all of a sudden it's 12-10.
It's a 12-point turnaround.
Yeah. So
the oldest trick in the book.
And then the Heimel Hunt, you were saying the player that was attempting to tackle Heimel Hunt before.
Callum Watkins.
He had a terrible game.
He was, pardon the English, shithouse.
Yes, and he is actually English.
He is English, so you'll pardon him as well.
It's going to be an interesting one. He just, like, the Titans sort of capitulated in periods, but I thought that we tried a lot. We offloaded a lot. I thought I thought that's the different thing in the game. We were offloading a lot in a wet game, and I thought for a while there, Brownie recovering from a team that was really struggling to hold possession would just just hold the ball. Would cut out the offload from the Knights game, and I feel like this time they had a bit of a license to do it. Just throw it.
And the biggest thing for me with that is David Clemmer. He's incorporated a pass into his game. He's becoming kind of much more of an all-round prop, whereas before it was just he takes it up, he gets his big yards, he gets his post-contact meters. He's starting to work a pass into his game, and he had some really nice touches there on the weekend. I think his offloading is going to just take his game to another level.
One of them
he's already one of the best props in the world, and now he's adding an offload and a pass to his game, and he's only 25.
Yeah, there was lots of offloads coming from Connor Watson even just poking his nose through the line.
Josh King threw a few.
Had a couple, yeah, and that's for a lot of the time he was known for the drop ball, so I think he focused a lot on retaining possession, and now he was throwing it around. But running meters were all over them. Liam, do you have any more stats there about that?
Any more stats? Yeah, look, I thought they completed pretty well. Completed at 84% despite the rain.
Yeah.
Like, even though, as we've said, they were throwing the ball around a bit more, they were having a bit of fun with it. We still managed to hold on to the ball pretty well. 7 line breaks to 1, that was obvious. The Titans, you kind of can't take anything out of this game because the Titans checked out a month ago. They've had their trips to Bali booked. They've been thinking about Mad Monday, so you can't really take too much out of this game. It was a bit of a nothing game, but just a bit like I was there at the ground. I was just like, oh, great, the Knights have scored. Great, the Knights have scored again.
Yeah,
there's 10 people around me. That's all.
Which brings us to also. Lowest crowd, as we mentioned before.
Yeah.
But the fingers that were pointed of why it was the lowest crowd. Now, cyclonic conditions were mentioned. It wasn't that bad, but it was a miserable day. I remember it really kicked up right before, when you were about an hour before, when you'd be like, I'm going to head to the game. And then you looked outside and it was just absolute like sheets of rain.
Yeah.
But you trudged through.
I did. I was there at the Western Grandstand.
Yeah.
And me and Dad, we didn't sit in our usual seats. Shh, don't tell.
Yeah.
We went higher up and under the cover. And look, it was okay to be there, but it just felt like.
Did it feel like a crowd of 8,000, or did it feel like a lot less?
It felt like around 8,000.
Yeah.
But it just felt like a hollow victory after getting bungled out of finals contention by the Tigers the week before. It just felt so hollow.
Yeah.
And even though we put a lot of points on, it didn't really feel like much of a win, just because it doesn't really mean anything for us anymore.
Do you think the coaching had anything to do with it, or if Brownie was still the coach and leaving at the end of the season, do we get 12,000 there?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
I think without a shadow of a doubt, the way that this whole situation's been handled very, very poorly has jaded a lot of fans. I think it's not turned a lot of fans against the club, but it's certainly rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way, and I think that definitely has something to do with it, but that's something we'll discuss more in the mail sack.
Sad to see Old Boys Day, on a real shitter of a day.
Yeah.
The worst to play, we haven't had a game like that in a couple of years probably at home that I can remember. But, the fans usually turn up, especially on Old Boys Day, and we didn't. However, if we were playing a game against the Dragons, for instance, maybe another team that was struggling with a large fan base, because there's Dragons fans everywhere. Everyone's sort of a closet Dragons fan. Everyone's got like a granddad that was a Dragons fan.
Granddad from when they won those 11 premierships in the 50s.
Yeah, he's held on to them and be like, oh, I'm going to wear granddad's jersey. But it's... But, you have a team like that and they might rock up because they're like, the Knights are in turmoil. We might be in a chance for winning here. So you sort of like...
Well, great example was last year we played the Dragons on Old Boys Day. There was 25,000 people there.
Exactly right. And I think a lot of the time when you're in a vulnerable position, it encourages the opposition fans to come along. And then that adds to your crowd numbers as well. But the Titans have no fans, not even in the Gold Coast. I lived in the Gold Coast for 18 months. I never met a Titans fan up there. I was working hospitality. None of the patrons that came in gave a shit. They all loved AFL.
Well, it's an area of transplants. It's a city.
Breasts?
No, Nagy, get your mind out of the gutter, please, Nagy.
An area, sorry, of
It's an area of transplants.
I'd say
People have blow-ins, if you will.
Can I just say also, it is an area of breast transplants as well.
It is
probably not
absolutely.
transplants, implants. Because you don't. I don't give like.
It's
you
not
don't
the breast
remove-
cancer capital of the world.
No.
That's not what we're saying. We don't want to accuse the Gold Coast of being the breast cancer capital of the world. We meant implants.
No, that's right. However, no one gives a shit up there. They don't even like State of Origin.
What?
To be frank, they don't care.
No.
The Gold Coast does not give a damn. The Gold Coast is a haven for failed sides. There was one year that they had the Titans came last. It must have been 2011. Titans came last. They had the Gold Coast Blaze, which was the basketball team. They came last as well. And they had the soccer team as well in the A-League. They came last. All in the same year. And the Suns. Suns came last as well. So it was like, they just can't win. And they don't care.
Well, that's it. No one really is there to hold you account. Hold you to account if you're losing.
So my point going back was that we couldn't feed off the Titans side because there's not like a cheeky couple of thousand Titans supporters in Newcastle that come out. Yeah, there might be a couple, but
I doubt that.
But they wouldn't have come out in that weather.
No, they wouldn't have come out in any weather.
They just don't rock up.
No.
So it was. I think we picked the worst team to have Old Boys Day against because we didn't sort of make that atmosphere. And even, did you see any Titans supporters there?
Oh, God, no.
No. Was there a Rabbitohs jersey there?
Probably. I think there was. There's always a random South Sky everywhere you go all around the world.
Yeah.
Pretty much every country on earth has a random South Sky.
Yeah. But, it was upsetting to see the Old Boys not get the big sort of crowd that they deserve because there was a lot of Old Boys there as well.
Yeah.
But not the huge names. There was a few people that say, like, where was Joey? But at the same time, we'll cover a little bit more about Joey in the news. Actually, we better take a half-time break right now. And we'll be right back for the news and the mail sack.
And to cover next week's game.
Oh, yeah, there's still that to go. Yeah, and that too.
That was enormous what you've just done.
So they've given this assistant coach now a coaching role. And you think to yourself, okay, there's been Fox Sports came out very critical because that's what Fox Sports does. They're very critical. Are you okay?
I'm well, thank you.
Sorry, do you want to have a moment?
No, I'm good.
We can take it out in post.
I'm good. We can
Okay.
take, yeah, we'll...
I'm just trying to get focused over here.
Whoa.
Bit of 2-6.
Sorry, gang. No, I'm good, thank you.
262 down the wrong way?
262 went down my 161.
Woo! Are you alright?
Yes, I'm well.
Are you back?
I'm just eyeing off that cut. You're not going to finish that cutlet, are you, Josh?
I'm a bit full.
All right, nice. Just don't let him take it away.
You were just joking.
There you go. Almost died.
Yeah.
I'll finish the meal.
Actually, I'll just have a wee bite. It's been a while since I've had a wee bite.
I hope you understand that I'm not editing this out.
It's going to be quite the
That's
episode.
wonderful, thank you, Josh.
That was enormous what you've just done.
Welcome back to the second half of the Joust. Now, Liam, the game this week that everyone sort of has, because we were still a mathematical chance going into this week with a lot of other results going away. The Canberra Raiders did their best to beat the Sharks and, put the fire out of Gallen's party.
Which is good for me because I'm on the Raiders bandwagon now.
We wait till after this, when the end of the season goes, then we jump on
it's too late.
bandwagon.
I'm on the Raiders bandwagon.
Okay. Maybe we can do another podcast. We just swap everything to green. I'm sure we
What
can
should we call it?
I don't know.
The raiding party.
What's Canberra? Flat? The Questacons. It's probably it's cold. It's cold down there. Yeah. The cold. We'll figure something out.
Look, we'll workshop it.
The warm music. Oh, okay. Basically, all the time I've been to Canberra is the school trip in year 6. Now, Liam.
Yes.
A couple of things of this the game coming up this week. Notable inclusions include Bradman Best.
Yes, Bradman Best.
Scored his first try for us against the Titans.
And it was a good try.
Good
It
try.
was a good try from a young boy. Very good try for a young boy.
Before we jump straight into the team list and how we think Tenrith is going to do against us, a lot of people have been calling for Bradman Best to stay with us very long term. Now, our very own Sam Cupid has told us that he's actually signed until 2022.
Yes, which is a long time.
Which is a fairly long time anyway. So we have got him. But I think everyone's just got to remember that he's had 2 solid games, but he's had 2 solid games as an 18-year-old.
He's just a boy.
If he came in as a 24-year-old that was playing a lot of reserve grade or came from another club, everyone would sort of have higher expectations. So we're sort of looking at him with these debutant eyes. But then we also got talking about wingers that just disappear. Wingers that, have good seasons and then come back and then actually don't come back at all. They just disappear. They don't go to another club. You never hear from them again. We spoke about a few.
We did.
Earlier today, we're speaking about Leon Bott.
The lightning bot.
The lightning bot.
I think we should have called him the bot fly.
Well, okay.
You don't know what a bot fly is?
No.
It's a fly that's mostly in sub-Saharan Africa that burrows into your skin.
Right.
And they're really painful, and you have to get them removed surgically.
Was he a burrower?
He was a burrower because he wasn't a big guy, Leon Bott. He was a smaller guy.
It was like
I always wanted that nickname to catch on, but it never did.
He was like a Matt Utai sort of new version of.
He was.
Had the big thighs. Now, Liam, talking about this game coming up this week against Penrith.
The battle for 10th.
Battle for 10th. We've had the spoon off before with Penrith. And they flogged us. Penrith are in an interesting position because they also had a middle of the season. After we finished our blip, they sort of were in a blip.
Well, they started their streak started not long after ours. A blip. Sorry, their blip started not long after ours, and I think it went 7 games was their blip. I believe
6 was ours, 7 was theirs. But everyone thought, Knights are sort of capitulating. But Penrith, look at them, they're going.
And then Penrith sort of capitulated.
They had a very similar season. We're on different waves, though.
That's it. We were like 2 out of sync sine waves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sine waves.
A sine waves.
Sound wave.
No, sine. Trust me, Nagy. Right. Maths is not your strong suit.
You're right.
It's a sine wave.
Okay, all right. So it's got to be interesting with Penrith, Liam, because they're in obviously had a very similar season to us as far as the blip as we spoke about just moments ago. But it's both an important time for us because with this win, with the Titans win, we were 10 wins now. So that's improving on last season. But you might say, but it's only a very small amount. You can say the season's about the same. Now, but Liam, I did a bit of looking back. A bit of reflection,
A bit of reflection in the car on the way here. We did discuss this at great length, Nag. And what was our reflections? Tell the viewers.
It was back. Tell the people at home.
Tell the people at home.
It was the Bennett era.
The Bennett era.
Which I think a lot of people remember as largely a failure. But it's but really it was. But there's some fondness to the Bennett era compared to what happened after that. But if you look at the actual results. 10 wins was out of Bennett's 3 seasons. He got the Knights to 10 wins in 2012 and 2014. 2013 is the season everyone remembers as the last time we gave a bit of shtick. But really, what was are you okay with the microphone there, Liam?
Yes. Sorry.
But really, what has happened in 2013 was only 12 wins, finished 7th. And went on to the preliminary final.
12 wins for 13 losses. A losing record that season. Yes.
So it's really, if we get to 11 wins under Brownie's tutelage, I guess you could say, under a bit of a Brownie blanket, where he just sort of kicked off at the end. But it's really, in compared to what we managed to achieve under the Bennett era and get to 1 game within the grand final, it's just important to remember these times when you look back and think there wasn't that much difference. We're not actually that far away from really making a dent and just getting on a really good finals run. If anything, we just got to time our runs a little bit better. That we have, we feel like we're coming back and managing to score points again on a bit of a boom after this, after that very similar. What do you call
sine wave?
Sine wave. So we just got to get our sine waves in sync.
Yeah.
And so we boom again towards the finals.
Absolutely.
So we're not that far away. Finishing at 11 points and still finishing 10th on a different season could finish us in the finals. So 7th position, 6th position, 5th position, we won't get that high on 12 wins, obviously. But, it's still around what we need just to get in there.
That's it. And any slight improvement on that will mean we're up around that 13, 14 win mark, which basically guarantees you a spot in the 8.
Exactly.
So
right.
Any slight improvement on this year for next year will mean we're ostensibly inside the 8.
I just feel like a lot of people will feel like this season was a complete failure. But, last season was considered not good enough, and this season might be 2 games better. The wins came at the wrong time, but we're not far off the mark.
We're pretty close.
Penrith, what do you reckon? We can beat Penrith?
I think we can beat Penrith.
I think Maloney's already checked out. Ivan Cleary's probably looking for another job.
Yeah, I think we can beat Penrith, and maybe not beat them well. I think it'll be a close one. Last game ended, what was it, 16-14?
Yeah.
So the last game was very close.
Jaysville only won that game because...
that great try-saving tackle on
Edric Lee.
And he pulled out a few other very, very big plays that game. So I think Jimmy's on that'll be his farewell to Penrith. So it'll be a big to-do and a whole big event, and everyone will, whatever, who cares?
I think Nathan Cleary has sort of always looked up Mitchell Pearce. I've always think he probably compared himself to. He had the Game 3 jersey. Mitchell Pearce called him back over for the photo or the cheers or whatever. So I think he probably looks at Pearce and thinks that's, I've got my daddy that's the coach, but on-field daddy.
He's the football daddy.
He's the football daddy. So that's where I feel like they're so maybe he's got one over on it.
But look, I don't know about you, Nagy, but I can tell you where I'll be watching the game, the Commonwealth Hotel.
Your hands are very warm.
Thank you. I've been playing with this pen a lot. It's good for the circulation.
Yeah. So you wanted this pen.
I did want that pen.
Because it's got the squishy end.
I love the squishy end.
Yeah. I told you it was for tablets moments ago.
I thought it was just for fun.
No, it mimics like a finger.
Yeah, that's a bloody good idea. They should put a patent on that.
I think they, probably should. Because if you get other materials and try to mimic the finger, it doesn't work.
Why not just use your finger?
I don't know.
If it mimics a finger, surely the best thing to use would be a finger.
It's made for fingers, I guess.
Did I just blow your mind, Nagy?
You didn't even know what the squishy end was moments ago.
But look, if you're not watching the game at the Commonwealth Hotel, be sure to enjoy it at the courtesy of your own home with a Murray's 262.
Delicious.
Nova Castria brew.
Delicious. I've really enjoyed drinking them all season.
Yeah, as have I.
They've been bloody... There's bloody... how would you describe the Nova Castria brew?
I'd describe it as very easy drinking, easy to get into, like a good friend. Very easy. I don't know. I don't have many friendships in my life.
Time for the news, Lee. What have we got on the news?
News, not much this week. It's been a pretty average week for the news. But the first item in the news is that Andrew Johns, Joseph, our very own Joseph has had basically the doors of West thrown open to him, with Philip Gardner saying that he can come in and he can have any job that he wants in the whole of the Knights organisation. Phil Gardner said he can have any job that he wants. Now, you think this is all an elaborate ruse, don't you, Nagy?
Yeah.
Tell us why you think that.
Elaborate what?
Ruse.
Ruse, yes.
It's a ruse.
I thought you said elaborate rouge, which is just like if you put
just
too much
nice
makeup
powder,
on.
yeah.
You got some really elaborate rouge on there today, Liam. Yes, no, I did. I think it's a PR stunt. Absolutely. Because this is why... So, earlier in the week when there was a whole controversy with the team and whatnot, Joey just says that he was flabbergasted. He thought, what's going on there? They've sabotage was used, and he was very, very critical of the club. Now, Phil Gardner's not a silly man.
He's not.
No. But he's come out and said, we will offer him any job that he wants. That's not what an organisation does. Is saying that you can have any job that you want. Because even Andrew John's like, you're not in a position to be like, I'm just going to make up a title. I'm going to be a consultant of football and come there, 2 days a week and tell you how to run your business. No, it's not going to work. But what that does is allows everyone to think, Joey's coming back. And now it's back on Joey. This guy that lives in Sydney already works for other clubs in Sydney, probably has things in those clubs' contracts to say that you're not fucking off and working with the Knights and doing, bloody sweeping out the sheds for whatever job he chooses to do under what title. So it's never going to happen. But then everyone can remember this moment as we invited him back. He could have done anything. He had a blank check and he didn't come back. No, it was never a real offer. He's not going to call up the club and go, sorry, Phil, I know I was really, really critical of you and your management team yesterday. But yeah, sure, I'd love to come and put a jacket and tie on and work and travel 2 hours up the M1.
200 Ks.
Yeah. It's never going to happen.
No, absolutely not. I think Joey's done with Newcastle, and the sooner this town admits to that and the sooner this town comes to terms with it, the better. Yeah. Like, we love Joey. He was great. He's arguably the greatest footballer any of us has ever seen. He did things for this region that we didn't think anyone could do on and off a football field, but he's done. He doesn't want much to do with the Newcastle team beyond being an old boy from what we can see.
Not right now.
And we need to come to terms with that as Newcastle fans.
Do you want to work in Sydney, Liam?
God, no. I don't want
'cause
to do anything in
'cause-
Sydney.
'cause-
I never, ever want to do anything in Sydney.
It's a terrible commute.
It's to be avoided.
It's just, and it's for anyone, even if it was doing a few days a week.
Yeah.
When there's other similar jobs available in Sydney, you take them.
Absolutely.
You know?
But I think we need to let Joey have his time away from the club and make his money doing what he wants to do, which is coaching halves for the various clubs he works at and for New South Wales. And
Channel
he's
9.
the best in the business at it. And Channel 9, he gives great insight.
And he's unwell.
And he's unwell. He's got a very bad case of the epilepsies, I believe it is. And I just think, look, the time's not right for Joey to come back to Newcastle.
No, it's not going to happen. Anyway,
not gonna
but
happen.
everyone remember it was an empty offer.
Yeah.
That's the
now,
important thing.
next in the news, the worst secret in rugby league has finally been thrown open and uncovered and what have you. Adam O'Brien has been signed as coach of the Newcastle Knights on a 3-year contract. And we've discussed this at length, Nagy, I believe. We've covered it. We're over it.
It's a bit of a time to
finally happened.
To look behind the curtain. Who is Adam O'Brien? Fox was very critical to say we signed this assistant coach, but all the coaches start off as assistant
Everyone
coaches.
starts off as an assistant coach. That's how the hierarchy of coaching works, and the hierarchy of everything works. You're an assistant before you get the big job, the big role.
Yeah, and it's happened as our producer Sam Cupid says. It's come from the school of Bellamy. You know, the people. All
That's it, I believe. Depending who you ask, he had between 8 and 13 years working for Bellamy. Then 1 year last year under Trent Robinson, or 1 year this year rather, under Trent Robinson, arguably the two most influential and good coaches of the modern era. And he's come from those fantastic schools of how to become a coach and what does a coach need to do and all that good stuff.
A lot of people forget that even really good coaches like the very own Trent Robinson was an assistant coach once at the Newcastle Knights. So it's some places you don't have to make much noise and you can be very talented. But look, I think at the time, he's been touted as they could have gone two ways. They could have gone to a very old sort of experienced coach in like a Tim Sheens or David Ferner or God forbid Jason Taylor, but someone with a lot of experience as a first grade coach, and then they could have.
Well, Nagy, you'll be interested to know David Ferner has interviewed for the assistant coaching role.
Yeah, and I saw that as well as Tim Sheens as well. So I think they're going to go young guy, old guy. They're going to have the old sort of the old head, and then you've got a bit of insurance also if the assistant coach turns out that he can't coach and loses the dressing room, and then you've got the old head that steps up. So it's a bit of I think that was them covering themselves, but it's evident that we need a change.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Brownie and the club management can work together anymore. So it's not about whether the people want Brownie sacked, because as we just said, we can finish the season with 11 wins, and really that shouldn't be sack the coach. But it's going to be. We've reached a point where nothing was moving forward anymore.
Yeah, that's it. Brownie wasn't the coach to take us to a premiership.
No, and I don't think it was. But at the same time, we're not too far off the money. We just need to keep going and improve that a little bit. Anything else in the news, Liam?
Yes. Semi Radradra is considering a return to the NRL in 2021. Nagy, does the NRL need Semi back?
Nah, he's going to come back and do nothing, and he will be half the player he was.
He was arguably the premier winger in the world when he left Nagy. Do you think by the 2021 he's only 27?
Fijian wingers don't get better with age.
Don't they?
No.
I'd argue Marcus Bai definitely did.
Yeah, look, there's probably some
Noah
exceptions to the rule.
Nandruku played some of his best football in the twilight of his career.
I just think younger, you're right, probably in your early 20s, you're going to see the best from Fijians. Fijians are so strong and lean when they're young. And then
statuesque people.
But have you seen them around a dinner table? They eat.
I have. I lived with a beautiful Fijian man for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Made a goat curry that you would not believe. It was
all
so good.
All they do is make rich food with coconut milk.
Beautiful food. Yeah. It's fantastic. Yeah. Shout out to Kate if he's listening. I miss your curries every day.
Yeah.
But besides that, it's been a quiet news week, so all the power brokers at the NRL and all the talking heads and everyone has done what they always do on a quiet week, and they've just been talking expansion and relocation. We don't want to cover that, do we? We've discussed that in the past. No, let's
Sharks
leave it.
will eventually leave the end, where they are. We've decided that.
We've decided that. It's been decided. The Sharks are gone.
Titans will fail.
Titans will fail.
And there'll be another Brisbane team, and then the Sharks will go.
And someone's going to Perth.
It'll probably be the Sharks.
That's the whole argument summed up. We just covered that in 2 minutes.
Boom.
And yet Fox have been dedicating hour-long television programs to it.
Yeah.
We just covered it. They should just give us a job and they'd cut their programming costs in half. All right.
What
No,
else?
that's all for the news, though.
Not very much in the sack, but let's open it up
Empty
anyway.
sack this week. Thank you to those who did contribute. Gavin Morton. Now, Gav, as we well know, and as all you jousters would probably know, Gavin, he's a Penrith fan. Gavin asked 2 similarly frustrating teams going head-to-head this weekend with nothing but pride to play for. Who gets 10th?
I don't know. They've both been so quite disappointing when they need to win, they don't. So they've both been letting their fans down. I'm going to say the Knights will win because we've just gone through all our coach turmoil, but the finger will be pointed back at Ivan Cleary. So more pressure on him. Knights going to win.
I agree. Knights to win. Thank you. Daniel Turner asked, was the lowest crowd since 1997 due to the rain, the off-field drama, or both? What message, if any, should the club take out of the crowd attendance? I think, Daniel, that it's a bit of a combination of both, probably leaning more towards the off-field drama. I just think the way that the club handled this whole situation with the Brown thing has left a really bad taste in a lot of supporters' mouth. You know,
Brown taste.
Yeah, it's left a very Brown taste. You can say what you will about Nathan Brown, but he was popular with the fans. The people loved him, and he did turn this club around. And so to see him treated so badly, I think the fans, very rightly so, have, voted with their feet. They've voted at the ticketing booth. What do you think on that, Nagy?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think at the same time, it probably shows that there's not going to be guaranteed a full stadium, and we've had the luxury of that even through, in our darkest years. 2016 being probably the darkest year, we still crack 20,000 often, so they won't always rock up. But again, as I said earlier, if we had a game against a team that actually had a bit of a fan base, we might have actually fluffed up those numbers a little bit, and I think. In Newcastle, as much as there's people love the Knights in Newcastle, but there's always sort of a member of the family that loves another team.
There's no one in the family loving the Titans.
Yeah, much like this family when we've got Pom over there that loves the Saints. So,
but not the Titans.
Not the Titans. There's not a Titans fan anyway.
Thank God. The Knighted asks, who would win, a team full of Kalen Pongers or a team full of David Clemmers?
I thought about this and changed my mind. I read it earlier.
Well, tell us your thought processes that led to you changing your mind, Nagy.
Well, David Clem is such an animal, and Kalen Pong is such you don't want to see him get hurt. But imagine just 13 or
13 David Clemmers would murder 13 Kalen Pongers
early on,
and the Kalen Pongers wouldn't be able to finish the game because they'd all be dead.
But the Clemmers can play. I don't know. It's a damn good question.
It's a really good question. It's a real noggin scratcher. It's a brain burner.
I don't know.
Look, there's only one way we can find this out.
Yeah.
Cloning. I say we get the Scottish crew who did Dolly the sheep, bring them back, and then we'll get them on it. Don't worry, the Knighted. We've got the guys who cloned Dolly the sheep. They're actually fans of the show.
Yeah.
So we'll get onto them, and for you, the Knighted, we will sort this out, and we will find out who would win in a team of David Clemmers versus a team of Kalen Pongers.
We're huge in Scotland.
Huge in Scotland.
Not many people know that.
No, not many people are huge in Scotland either.
Mainly Glasgow.
Billy Bennett asks, how many shares should I invest in the Green Roof now that Brown won't be here to keep the players away from it? I'd say get in early and get in with a lot of money because, you're about to become a rich man. Nagy?
Oh, they'll probably all go there in the off-season. I don't know. I don't really like the Green Roof. Sorry.
I have a very funny story, actually.
Much prefer the Commonwealth Hotel.
A very good friend who I won't name actually got kicked out of the Green Roof and promptly banned for 6 months because when he was asked to leave, he just laid on the floor. He's a 6'5", 6'6" fella.
Wanderers?
No, unrelated to Wanderers. But he just decided that when they were kicking him out to lay down on the floor, and it took about 5 or 6 of them to carry him out. So that's the funny Green Roof
story. Say his initials, so I know.
TS.
I don't know anyone else. Who was TS and 6'5"?
I'll tell you after the show.
All right.
Next question. Dom Villiers asked, Kalen Pong a third-party deal with Macca's? The strawberry milkshake thing.
Milkshake thing.
But that's it for the sack. It was a quiet sack this week. Very small.
It's like they were trolling us. Every one of those questions.
I think we got trolled.
This
We've
is
never
what it
been
feels
trolled
like
before.
Yeah. Well, it was coming eventually.
It was bound to happen.
If you like us on Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Instagram, Twitter, all those social pipes. Liam, it's our second last show. We're taking a little bit of a hiatus. As you can tell, we're running out of things to talk about because our team is about to stop playing. But no, we're going to have a little bit of a hiatus over the final series, and we'll be right back at the end of the season, the very end, the proper end, not the regular season.
The bit before the very end.
What's the minor premiership, by the way? Have you seen the shield they get for the minor premiership?
The JJ Giltinan shield.
It's huge.
It's enormous.
Yeah.
And $100,000.
That's nothing. I don't
It's
understand.
very little. You
They
split that
haven't-
between the whole team. That's like $10 each.
They haven't increased that in
100 years.
15 years at least.
Since JJ Gilton himself was playing.
I remember in 04 it was still 100 grand.
No, it might be more now. I don't know.
But what do they do with that money?
Take a holiday.
We've gone off the topic again.
Team-wide holiday.
Yeah, but even then they could anyway.
They might go.
Social
They'll
pipes,
go
all the
up their
rest.
caravan in Fingal.
We want, yeah, that's probably what they'll get. If it's a lovely area, Fingal Bay. You can see while we're taking a break, we'll be back for the grand final preview show, and we'll do a bit of a night's reflective as well. Thanks everyone for tuning in week to week. It's been an absolute pleasure doing it from our shed and from the Commonwealth Hotel. Thank you very much. I'm going to start crying. Liam, no.
I'm going to get into these cutlets.
Liam's going to eat some cutlets. Thanks very much. We won't see you next week, but we'll see you in a few weeks for the grand final show. Thanks very much, guys.
Are you sure you don't want to finish these, Josh?
You've taken a bite out of one.
I used a knife and fork.
If you're ever in the car, right, and there's food, like a toasted sandwich or something, Liam will ask for a wee bite. And
When have I ever done that?
it's the largest bite you can make with your mouth.